Hey everyone, it's Niall Doherty here from $50blogs.net. This screencast is for anyone who may be upgrading from a WordPress.com blog to a WordPress.org blog and wants to transfer all their content. So let me set the stage for you. Here is the WordPress.com blog we'll be transferring content from. As you can see, it's located at $50blogs.wordpress.com and it's got a bunch of just dummy content in here. We're just going to pretend that all that content is real and meaningful, and we're going to transfer it over to this fresh self-hosted WordPress site at demo.50blogs.net. So you can see there's just one single post there. It's a fresh install. So the first thing we need to do is to make sure we have administrator access to the WordPress.com blog we want to transfer the content from. So we need to go back here. Now that's pretty easy to do. We just need to go to the dashboard of the blog. And once in there, we need to click on Users over here in the left menu. And make sure that the user we're signed in as has been assigned the administrator role. And I'll show you how we can check that once this page loads up. Okay, there we go. So you'll see that I'm logged in as $50 blogs, which is up here on the right, and $50 blogs has the administrator role. Now if you don't have admin access, you need to ask an administrator of the blog to invite you via this invite new button up the top here. So make sure you've signed up for a WordPress.com account before you do this, and ask your buddy to enter your username up here and then set the role to administrator right there before they send you an invitation. Okay, so once that's done, you'll have full access to the blog to do the content transfer. So I'm assuming you have all that sorted, and the next step then is to go to the Tools link here in the menu and then to Export right there. So we want to first export the content from WordPress.com before we can import it into the self-hosted blog. So now in here we want to make sure that we have all content selected, which should be the default, and then we're going to hit that download export file. Okay, now you can't see it because it's off my screen here where it's downloading, but that file has been downloaded. It'll be a .xml file, and once it's downloaded, we're essentially finished with the WordPress.com site for the time being. So let's flip over to the self-hosted site at demo.50blogs.net. Once again, this is the new site that we want to transfer the content to. Okay, so now we need to navigate to the dashboard of this site, and then we're going to go to Tools again, but this time we're going to select Import right here. Now on this page we get a list of different systems that we can import from, and we want to select WordPress here at the bottom since that's the type of site our content is coming from. Now when we click that, it asks us to install an importer plugin, so we need to go ahead and do that. So I'll click Install now. It should only take a second. There we go. Once it's installed, we can go ahead and activate it by clicking on this link here. Actually, that link also should bring us to the first screen of the importer so we can get started, and indeed does. So first thing we need to do is upload the file we downloaded from the WordPress.com site just a minute ago. So we're going to click this Choose File button. You might have a Browse button if you're using a different browser. So Choose File, and I have that exported file on my desktop, so I'm just going to select that. And once we have it selected, you can go and click on this upload button right here. May take a moment. Okay, next screen. Assign authors. Now you can create a new author here, or you can use a new author or a user. Really, it's the same thing. You can create a new one here to assign the post to, but I usually just assign them to the existing admin user using this select box right here. And then I always check this box here because we want all our images and such that were uploaded to the old blog to be transferred over and hosted on the new blog now instead. So those things done, we just hit submit and then we wait a moment. Now this part of the process can take some time, especially if the old blog had a lot of images and you check this box right here. Okay, so it gives us a list here of the import procedure. The more images and stuff that you have, you'll get a big list of things down here. And once it's successful, you'll see that all done, have fun message. That's the key thing to look out for there. So I've done imports before where it's a lot of content being transferred over, and it will stall here on this page, so you don't get that all done, have fun message. Now if that happens to you, don't worry. Just go back to the import link here and click on WordPress again and run through the same process. You won't have to install the importer again because you've already done that. So once you run through this process again, if it stalls the first time, you'll find that you'll get a little bit further each time, and you might have to do it several times, run through this process until eventually all the content has been transferred and you see that all done, have fun message that I showed you a minute ago. Alright, so once you've got that, you can go check out the site homepage like we're going to do and make sure that all the content has been transferred properly. So remember before we just had the hello world post here on this demo.50blogs.net site, and we only had the home link up here. So obviously it looks like all our content has been transferred as we were hoping it would be, and the images as well, which is great. Now, a few things to note just before I leave you, because we're not quite done yet, or you might not be done yet just at that, because there are a few things that are not transferred over during this process. One is your widgets. So if you had your widgets all set up nice on your own blog, different things in the sidebar here, you need to go to the widgets control panel here on the new blog, and you need to set them up again the same way from scratch. Okay, and the second thing then are your plugins. They're not transferred either. Now that's not a problem if you're transferring content from WordPress.com, since plugins aren't allowed on there, but if you're transferring content from another self-hosted WordPress site, you'll want to go ahead and install the same plugins and copy over the settings so everything works the same. And lastly, if you are moving on from a WordPress.com blog, don't just abandon that old site completely. At the very least, you want to publish a new post on there up at the top here somewhere. That tells people that you've moved, and maybe give them a big fat link so they can easily click through and visit your new blog. And if you want to be more thorough and have your old blog redirect to the new one, WordPress.com does offer a service for that, which costs, I think it's $12 a year last time I checked. I'll have a link in the blog post that accompanies this video so you can get more info about that if you need it. Okay, so that's about it. Once again, my name is Niall Doherty for $50 Blogs. You can check back next week for another helpful WordPress related tutorial / screencast dealio, just like this one. And if you subscribe in the sidebar here at $50blogs.net/blog, you'll get a heads up on any special offers related to $50 blogs, plus advance notice of live support sessions where you can get all your blogging related problems solved and questions answered absolutely free.